Hey Dad, how to do a video of this? I did already like a 2 hour video going over some things. I don't know if it's saved or not. My laptop died on me, and it's done that before, and then it did save miraculously later, even when I thought that it hadn't. So I'm hoping that's the case this time. Just in case, um, when I was at the last hotel, like I didn't work for a couple of days, um, and I sent you those pictures of my blisters. Those blisters were on the side of my heel, and I might have had like tiny ones there or none at all when I finished that job. And then I'm just at the hotel walking Max and shit. Like no, and then again have have new shoes, boots, and flip flops. And so when there was that in my feet like a motherfucker, even more than normal. I know that you don't believe me in that shit, but I need you to believe me on this. And I hope that you do. If you do, then part of me is like, what the fuck is going on? Because this is torture. They switched to my knee, and they said earlier, like, we're going to focus on your knee. And they have been zapping my knee like a motherfucker. And it hurts. And I can do that. And now my hand hurts. Or not now it's on the verge of hurting versus like they're moving it around. I think I'm hitting, I guess moving all around. But look at my knee. I've never ever had anything like this happen. Again, all I've been doing was sitting at my desk typing. And I was typing up something someone had turned into like, a whole explanation of what was going on and like my disappointment in the fact that no one's helping me or rescuing me and how everyone thinks it's a mental illness or drug related. Dad, nerve damage does not cause this. Again, I did not miraculously get hemorrhoids by lying in my bed when they were like, we're going to give you hemorrhoids. We're going to shock the shit out of your butthole. And they were shocking the shit out of my butthole. And I felt like something was pulling my butthole inside out. And I have hardly ever gotten hemorrhoids. Just a handful of times. And even when I did, it wasn't like what you see on like when Howard Stern had those people on there with like the worst ones ever. That was so gross. Usually when you get hemorrhoids, it's because something happens to your butthole. Maybe you're pooping or something like that. Again, I was in this. I remember when I sent that email like a month and a half ago, and I was like, it literally feels like pulling my butthole inside out, and I'm having to like wad up a towel or like cover it, and it's like it feels like something's aggressively pulling down on it and shocking the shit out of it. And they're telling me that like I don't have the power of premonition, and again, I never refused treatment for schizophrenia, even though I knew I wasn't schizophrenic because I went on medication for it, and it obviously did nothing because I'm not schizophrenic. When you look at those videos and you're like, this is camera noise. Most of those videos were recorded in 4K with a Note 7 and S7 Edge, or over the past year, a Galaxy Note 8 phone. They have the best cameras on them. 4K video, even in low light conditions, they don't produce noise that much. When I post those videos, I don't usually see animations, and I don't usually see cartoons or things like that. Most of them I just see noise, and sometimes I do see things, but the cameras don't pick it up because usually when they do the really cool, interesting stuff, it's too hard to see. Your eyes have to adjust. You have to be like in the dark for a long time. Your eyes have to adjust, and even then, it's always like it's very hard to see it. Once you see it, you lock onto it, then you can see it, and then like I record it, and sometimes the noise or the colors will show up, but a lot of times animations don't, and there's very few of those that I've recorded anyway. So again, my eyes do see that. So sometimes when you see that excessive noise, I see that. When you made that rude comment about like the enhanced ones, I'm not a special effects person. I'm not going in there and adding anything. All I'm doing is like changing the brightness, bringing out the shadows, changing the contrast. Because in the dark ones, yeah, it is too dark. You can't see it. It's camera. It doesn't take pictures well in the dark, but it still captures data. And a lot of times sometimes you can pull the brightness up and still see the anomalies that I'm seeing. Like in the corner, for example. Yes, this might look like normal noise, and I'm on a laptop. I know it's not 4K. This stuff right here, going along, especially along the edge in the corner there, I see that with my eyes. That's why I'm looking back on it. It's kind of like that when you have like one contact in and one contact out. If you remember those days when you lose one contact and you only have one in and you can see clearly, but then everything else looks out of focus, right? It's kind of like that, except there's movement to it. There's like a jiggle to it, or like a TV static type of movement to it. But that's the closest thing I can describe to it, as far as like when I first started noticing it, back in September, October 2016. But again, they were shocking the shit out of my knee. Look at that fucking lump there. Again, I put my hand here, and they're not hurting. It hurts, but they're not hurting it as strongly as they were earlier. Like I was on the balcony smoking, and like I put my hand there, and my hand hurts. It just hurt like then when I did that. Like I've never had any problems with my knee, and I've got like this big blister-looking thing. So you think I'm schizophrenic? And again, Dr. Lamb told you that it wasn't possible with the level of usage that I had, nor in the past. And again, the usage that you think I was doing in the past is totally incorrect. And anything that you suspected for it's not. And you're like, you was slamming for the... No, it's not. And I keep correcting you on some data points that you have, and you keep making me feel like a bad person for correcting you on those. I've always been respectful when correcting you on those, and the worst thing that I ever said to you when correcting you on those things was I mentioned like an age thing, which was technically correct, but how hurtful and angry and like disappointed do you think I feel when you have an incorrect recollection of things, sometimes from first hand or second hand, or sometimes from second or third hand information? And like the other day when I was like, yeah, this is very important, and I had a whole bunch more to send to you, and I was going to change it to an email because I was like, this is getting too big. I just need to type it up because now. But then I was like, he didn't respond to any of it so far. I was like, I didn't threaten Tom's daughters. I didn't intend to bomb down Town Central Booking, and I told you that immediately when you called me. I didn't, and like you still throw those things in my face, and it's so hurtful and disappointing because you've been thinking I'm a person that I'm not. And when I was trying to explain to Robin at that time, no, these people try to get people to do that, and I refuse to do that. All my documentation always has been like, I've let APD know, like I refuse to do like self-help. I refuse to do things like that. These people try to get victims to retaliate against officers and civilians that do help them fuck them over, or that they make a peer fuck them over. And if you look at my giant Gangstalking document, which again, I highly advise that you take that another read over. It's changed a lot since you first seen it. But my stories don't change. At the doctor's office, I really need you to hire a private investigator aggressively and not keep throwing it in my face that I didn't get a second contact when I was under attack by people that, by the way, if I did hire a private investigator myself, they would know when the private investigator was coming or that team was coming. Like, I need someone coming with special cameras or whatever to like look at those people. But like ultimately, those suspects, I need questioned. The FBI guy was told that he could not pursue the case any further. That seems like a cover-up. There wasn't anything. There wasn't any. Like, I gave him plenty of leads to look into, and he said he looked into some of them, but he wasn't allowed to pursue the case any further. Again, I'm not mentally ill. Surprisingly so. I know that you think that I have a drug-damaged brain. You have you have misinformation. I keep correcting you on things, and you keep holding on to the misinformation. You keep thinking I'm getting hung up on these small things when they're very important things. I haven't been using, or in the past or now, to the extent that you thought I have. With the periods where I wasn't using at all. And again, Dr. Lamb told you like once a week does not cause schizophrenia to begin with. When you see people, I don't even know if the amount could cause schizophrenia that you thought I was using. And remember, George thought he heard me talking behind his back. Other people, Bernie went crazy, thought I was plotting behind his back. Other people moved in the house, thought people were talking behind their back, plotting against them. Having one guy had hallucinations, going, "Don't hurt me." I left the house in a crazy fit. Then I move out of the house, and then I hear voices. And a soundboard gets created with your voice on it and George's voice on it. So it's not a coincidence that George, and again, George is older than me. You don't become schizophrenic at 50. You don't become schizophrenic at 50. You don't become schizophrenic at 41. It does not happen if you don't have a history of mental illness. That's true for most mental illnesses except for mood disorders and trauma-induced things. And so, and I did not know that the guy in 301 who I didn't hang out with, stole my phone and hacked my Google account. I already knew who stole my phone. It was a guy named Mike. He returned a phone to me that wasn't my phone, that I believe he took from like one of the like an AT&T. I think he took from an AT&T store. I don't know why it was so important to hold on to my phone for 4 days and then get another phone to return it. But it was the Galaxy Note 7 that had the recall, and that's how I was able to return it to get another one, because they didn't ask any questions, and I was just like, here's a Note 7, give me an S7 Edge. And when I did the Find Your Phone tool after I got my replacement phone and recovered my Google account that had been hacked, again, it's not about the stolen phone. You said once, like, Kip, like, get over the phone, and it's like, it's not about the phone. Which, by the way, I had proof that the guy had it, and the Find Your Phone tool, I had a screenshot of it. It's in there along with the suspects. You've seen it before. And his email address that I could not have guessed, that linked to his Facebook profiles and Google Plus profiles, and that's how I knew it was him. Because it had his pictures, like, it's him. He does have my phone and hacked my Google account. My phone's in his room, like, or right outside it. I don't know how the guy that had my phone for 4 days that returned another phone to me got that phone to him. So, and I know it wasn't my phone that returned to me because I didn't take my lock code. And when I got my replacement phone, I did the Find Your Phone tool. My phone was like still active in that guy's room or right outside it. So if I had just returned it to the AT&T store, So APD gets less proof of that in other cases that they look into. The assault at my doctor's office. I really need you to immediately get an investigator out there and get their confessions, and not say I talked to your doctor 6 months ago. Sorry, you had a bad experience. It doesn't cut it. No, I need an investigator, hopefully someone who's an officer, and I really need you to hire them. You are in a better position to hire them. Hopefully you don't have these people on you. I know that you have in the past. That's a conversation for another time, but I know it was a coincidence the day after Thanksgiving that when I was telling you to try to remember Gay Seaman's name and you couldn't say that, it wasn't a coincidence that you then recalled being in the neighborhood with Chris, and that I just walked away from, and I walked to the intersection at that under that overpass. Right when you said Hampton Inn, I look up and the Hampton Inn sign is right there. That's why I hung up on you, and I was like, "This isn't you, or this is fake." I shouldn't have, and then I could have gotten to maybe like a hotel room there instead of walking around the rest of the day, getting zapped and scared. Because the police took my ID with me when they took me to the psych ER, and who said take it back to the hotel, he's fine. And the officer was like, no, we're going somewhere else, and they took me to St. David's South Hospital, where they forcibly sedated me without asking me any questions at all. No exam, nothing. Didn't even ask me if I was allergic to anything. And the police officer had taken my ID out of my room. My debit card was right with it. I must have thrown the other one away because the debit card wasn't in there when Robin went back there. It's interesting, because it was the day after Thanksgiving. So then I wouldn't have access to my money, and I would be homeless because technically I couldn't go back to the hotel, although they probably would have let me back in there, at least get my things again. And I guess my debit card still wouldn't have been there. But I need to hear sorting like a motherfucker. Like, look at that. And they keep zapping it. I got this big old thing right here. I've never had anything like that in my life. And now, like, my hand hurts and it feels warm. And they're moving it around. I have to move my hand around. Like, it's not in my head. I don't have the power of premonition. Like, I need you to start believing me. And I know that you're not. And that's what sucks about these videos. I know you're not going to believe me. I got more videos to put up there. But when I see those noise, like that's camera noise, that's way more excessive camera noise than that type of camera should produce. And I see that with my eyes. Like, some of those videos, it looks like there's not a face on my face. Like, I saw that with my eyes. That's why I did the recording. I'm not just like, ooh, let's see what happens when we play with camera noise and then do interpretations like seeing things in the clouds. Sometimes they come out shitty and sometimes they don't. Just because Tim stood on my feet and we were both in shoes and didn't feel shocks. I'm sorry I just called you an asshole for that, but I think that was like a really rude and illogical and not irrational thought. And I need you to remove this wall of stubbornness. Like, I didn't know you were this stubborn, and like I thought that, like, being a programmer, that when you had data inputs that were incorrect and like I correct those inputs, that you could reprocess that information. Like, and like, my story hasn't changed. It deserves another review. I would recommend that you go in there and look at my Gangstalking story documents. Videos. Fine if you don't look at the projection stuff anymore. It's like, but I saw that. Like, I shouldn't have all that crap over my wall. Like, and that blue light thing, I didn't even change the hue on it. The ones where I'm like, look at that. The one that isn't the animations thing. Because I can make out something that looks kind of like a face. But maybe it's not a face, but maybe it's my interpretation of it. But still, all that shit shouldn't be happening like in a just dark room. It shouldn't. And it was. And like I shouldn't see that shit. You know, I shouldn't see it. I shouldn't. It shouldn't look like in the corners or whatever, or in the slightly dark areas. It shouldn't look like I have one contact in, one contact out, where I can see, you know, the pattern. I can see the texture on the wall. I can see the crease. I can see, but then it looks like there's a fuzz around it, and like it looks like it's coming out from the wall. Because in dimmer light, I can see it is, you know, it permeates the entire room sometimes, especially when they turn it up, and it makes seeing very hard at night, and that's what they would do a lot. Like in the Manor house, I'd sometimes walk to the kitchen in the dark, and the dining room, living room would be dark, and there's all this like, it looks like the air is like got squigglies in it, and it like distorts everything, and it makes it look. And you see my videos, you see like dining room. If you look at dining room videos and living room videos from Manor, you see a lot of squigglies. You see a lot of things like. And I'm like, I saw that with my eyes. The one in the art pieces, it's got all that noise over it, and even the thumbnail for the YouTube video, it shows like a little arrow on it, and it's like this, which was taken, you know, in similar lighting conditions as this, like in the middle of the day, brightly lit, because there's a front door that's made of glass. I can't remember if the hall light was on or not, but it's like bright, and that one day looked, and other days looked like that. That's not normal. I shouldn't see those things moving all over it, and I saw that with my eyes. I'm not producing shitty footage from one of the best cameras you can get on phones, and reinterpreting it. I'm not modifying them by enhancing them. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm trying to bring this stuff out to try to show you what I saw, and raising the brightness and contrast and shadows, and changing the hue to make it more possible, especially in the darker videos, to see. Those shouldn't be discounted. You know, if they don't help, then like, and you're only looking at the zero videos that are super dark, especially when it says like look for the enhanced versions. Like, that's not appropriate to do, because of course you're not going to see anything in dark, and you know, in the dark with the brightness turned down so much. And but you know, I'm trying to take better footage, and I'm trying to show you, like, and I think I have some recent footage that is even better, but then I always think that, and then like you still discount it or don't see it. But like the noise, like I can see that. I see that with my eyes. I see that. Like, I shouldn't see that with the naked eye. It looks a little different. It's not that colorful to my eyes usually. It's not. Sometimes it's colorful. Sometimes I've seen it on the ceiling very early on. The extended stay, the first hotel I went to, I was looking up at the ceiling, and then like that, and then it looked like there was a blue electricity or plasma waves like all over the ceiling. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Actually, I took a video of it, and then unfortunately it was on the phone that was stolen. So that I somehow, like, magically at 41, when this doesn't happen at 41, got schizophrenia from a non-existent drug use that was greatly inflated by someone who lived with me for only 2 months. Told you some very, very incorrect information, and from George, who was suddenly became schizophrenic as well when he was in the house, and then like left, and he heard my voice even though I wasn't talking about him, and then I hear his voice a year and a half later, and your voice and other people's voices. And by the way, they talk to other people as God and other people. I've already met. I've met so many victims, and some of them don't even know they're victims. But I don't even know if that other video that I did is gonna upload. So I'm trying not to make this one too long. But then it's also, do I make a whole replacement for that? I'm not sure. But my knee hurts like a motherfucker. Like, look at that. This is not my kneecap. Look at that. It hurts. Like, that just happened sitting in the chair with the voices telling me that they were going to focus on my knee now. And those blisters that I got, like, I got those grew so that after I'm not on my feet all like working and walking like a motherfucker. Either in new shoes barefoot or in sandals or flip flops or whatever that aren't annoying those areas. Like, and then I'm hobbling along because they're also zapping my legs and like all the muscles, and they can turn off like that, and suddenly I'm walking normal with no pain, even with blisters. Maybe the slight discomfort, knowing that those blisters are there. But another thing was that they were doing was they were pushing down, and if the other video does upload, and I was trying to show you like the blister on my toes, and I was like, huh. And it's like, no, that wasn't it. I was like, I can't believe it healed that fast. I was like, this is the blister. I was showing you the wrong foot. Some additional blisters. I've never gotten a blister between my toes in my life, ever. Between your toes, like my toes, like just, and that's it. They don't do that. I can't wiggle my toes like mom did individually. I can do like the big toe one way and the other one, all the rest one way, and they fit together like they're like. I mean, they just like they. I've never in my life gotten a blister between my toes, and I've walked way more and had way more damage to my feet. Like, certainly not from new work roots, and it wasn't the fact that there were new work roots that did that. They were shocked. They were shocking my feet even more so, even though they do it almost every single day. Even more so over the past week or two. And so I'm hobbling along, and then all of a sudden I'm not hobbling along, and now I'm hobbling along again, and now they do this to my knee, and I'm hobbling along even more, and they're increasing it now. As I say that, look at that. Like it's growing. Now my hand feels it. I have to do this because it feels like it's swiveling around, or there's more than one beam on me. Now my hand hurts like a motherfucker. My hand is hurting like a motherfucker now. That hurts my hand, and not. I mean, my knee's still getting hit. That's why I'm moving my hand because it's like, oh, now I gotta go over here. Now I gotta go over here. Now I gotta go over here. Now my hand hurts. Like, do you think all those videos, like, I'm making that up? I'm not making that up, Dad. Like, I'm in most of the videos, I'm in a calm, collected state, surprisingly so. And I'm like, and again, I have witnesses for that. Just because Tim stood on my feet one time and didn't feel the beams, I mean, would a criminal like normally do that? No. If they didn't want witnesses, they would normally just stop shocking my feet, or they would hit, or maybe they weren't shocking it from the top at all anyway. Because a lot of times they shock it from the bottom. I mean, from the sides, like near the bottom. So that having Tim do that wouldn't necessarily help. So I didn't usually even try to get a witness because I was like, they're just going to move it around or stop, like, and I'm just going to look like a crazy person. But I have witnesses that went on record that felt it on me and other people. And another witness that was like diagonally below me that was getting my collateral damage. He was feeling his feet get shocked, and then he flipped back the other day, and then his shoulder, he slept the other way, and then his neck or shoulder, upper arm was going numb and getting shocked. I'm like, Chris, you're getting my collateral damage. And me and another victim and those two, like, we were interviewed by Travis County Sergeant. We all did grievances. Like I'm not making that up. That's very important. But let me get this picture in here. Let's see. Do you see that? You see that? Look at that. I popped it the other day. Like that's on the side of my toe. I've never gotten a blister there in my entire life. That's not a place I would ever get a blister. It wasn't the new shoes or anything. That happened like after working too. Like maybe it started as a small blister, but I don't even know if that happened. But apparently they can do that. I can like look at how swollen that is. That's not look at that. And again, like, oh my god. And it's really warm. And my hand's warm even like I'm not doing that. Like I don't know where it's coming from. It's hard to triangulate with one hand. You can't. It's impossible. But I'm gonna hit stop on this. But like I don't say that. Like I know you're not gonna believe me, and I don't know if you're gonna watch this video. I'm tired of you treating me like some deadbeat person that would actually threaten Tom's kids and then still throw that in my face and say, well, the text message might be interpreted that way, or might. No, Dad. No, you're totally wrong on that. You owe me a huge apology on that and so many other things, and I know you're not going to get one, and I know that nothing's going to change, and I'm going to be wondering how they're going to fuck me over again, like, suffering every single day. Nothing that you suggested explains really anything. Yeah, nerve damage. Nerve damage wouldn't transfer from one body part to the other by hovering my hand over it, and it wouldn't be felt by a third party. It's impossible. Just because Tim didn't feel them by one test that wasn't even a good test, doesn't mean that I'm not getting shocked, because I have other people that have felt them. Like, explains everything. And I really wish you would believe me on that. I really wish you would stop treating me the way that you've been treating me, because it's like all your responses to everything have been very inappropriate. I'll take a hammer to the door, get the door handle off after the cops came and there's nothing to do and left, which was the appropriate response. He blasted a Bluetooth speaker with music outside my door. After, again, I wasn't even being loud to begin with. And then I just shut up. There was no TV going. Me and Max were just in the bed. He blasted a Bluetooth speaker, and then I thought Tim did that, so I thought, oh, Alan's gonna freak out. Like, he thought I was loud. This shit's loud. And so I turned it off and I put it next to Tim's door, which is right by my door. Alan comes running across. Give me back my Bluetooth speaker. I open my door again. Alan, it's right there. I thought Tim did that. I thought it would bother you. And I closed my door. Tim, I'm getting the hammer. Why are you getting the hammer? Why? What's the problem here? Like, you already called the cops, unnecessarily so. They left. I'm not doing anything. I'm quiet. I'm not suicidal. I'm not thinking about hurting myself or anybody else. And I've always told people that. Like, no, these people try to get people to do that. I refuse to do that. And that should be respected, especially when, like, I leave messages for APD, and I'm like, I'm certain, like, I can agree you're the more appropriate people to interview those people at Red River Family Practice, and we certainly wouldn't want, and that would avoid any sort of escalation or tragedy that could happen with the victim leaving, desperate and with a direct confrontation to get them to tell the truth. My story hasn't changed on that, Dad. Like, and I'm tired of, like, getting made to feel like the bad person when I correct you on things, and I'm very polite about it usually. And say, like, no, Dad, this happened. I'm like, Kip, you're such an ass. No, Dad, how am I an ass when Tom doesn't really correct the record and never did? Like, how do you think, like, what if I had done a lie? What if I had lied and told Tom's, like, wife that he had cheated on her when he didn't? And for 2 years, Tom kept going, please tell her, please correct the record, please tell her that didn't happen. There wasn't any even misinterpretation. It couldn't have been interpreted that way. It was totally made up for some reason. Like, it's like totally you're bad. And these other things that you've told her, like the gym shorts. No, I did not fit into them. I actually, after jail, I tried. One time I was trying on gym shorts at the Grove. Oh, these must be Tim's stepson's gym shorts. No, I was doing laundry at the time, and like, and like, that was, yeah, they can go on, but they don't fit normally. They're very tight, and like, no, they don't fit normally. And yes, I could get into them, but I was 20 or 25 pounds overweight. I was basically the same size as I am now. I was like basically about 200 pounds. I think I'm like 205 now, or 200. It could be the same exact size. I'm not sure. I got a belly on me. Like, I lost 20 pounds in jail eating 3 meals a day before your commissary started kicking in. Like, like, I'm just so, and it's like, I keep correcting you on things, and you keep hanging on to the misinformation. You keep saying mental illness. You say voice skull is real. You can block it this way. I don't know where you heard that, but it's not true. Unless I need a thicker tinfoil. And why do I need to make a tinfoil hat? Why can't you rescue me? Why can't you get me on a private jet? Like, Alan said that they're really not that expensive to just get from point A to point B, to get on a private jet over commercial jets. He said it's really not that expensive. And it's not like having your own personal private jet. There's services that go that way. It's certainly more expensive than a commercial jet. But he said that really not that bad. You've been acting very strangely and like you think that my pain and my suffering just stop magically on the same times that like I fly out and I fly back in? Dad, like you're not being logical or rational, and it's like I know you're not going to respond positively to this, and I know that you're going to be insulted, and you're going to be mad, and it's like I'm the one who's mad, I'm the one who's infuriated, I'm the one who's so hurt and disappointed, and he treated me like a deadbeat, and then I can barely like, and this stress is making me continue to smoke, and I know I need to quit smoking anyway, but like I can't when I'm going through this, like it's just like I can't, otherwise just I just sit and stew, and then go walk Max, and then like just sit and stew, and like I don't I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know if the other video that I did that was 2 hours is like going to be saved or not. I'm hoping it is, but if not, I'm going to avoid doing that whole spiel. But I'm like look at my knee, look at those blisters. My feet are getting shocked still. Again, they're doing my knee. Now they're increasing it. Now I'm hovering my hand over my knee just like I showed you. I'm moving it around. And my hand hurts. Like, and I have witnesses that have felt that. Just because one witness didn't feel it on a very quick, simple test that wasn't a good test. It was just like, oh, let's see what happens. Doesn't mean that you can discount the others that have felt it. Just because he didn't feel it when you weren't even like, doesn't mean it wasn't happening. It wasn't a good test to begin with. And I do have people on record that have felt it, and other victims. And it's like if we just get someone to talk to those ladies at Red River Family Practice instead of talking to Dr. Lambeth and taking his like sort of answer, that's not acceptable. And I've suffered more than an additional 2 years because of your lack of action of hiring a private investigator aggressively on this, and blaming me for not getting a second contact when I told you that there's hardly any private investigators in Austin, certainly not the type that would even look into this. There was one that said he was like worked with law enforcement, but the thing I didn't like about him, and I think he was the one I referred you to, but I'm not sure. He was like, we don't even have to meet. You just send me the money and then like tell me what you want done. And I was like, no, I think I definitely want to meet you. Like I don't want to do that. But it might be necessary to hire someone from Dallas or Houston, like or somewhere else, and get them in here. But like, can you like get me out of here like on a private jet? Now the reason why I say that is because these people will likely find a way to get in a commercial jet and then just follow me or follow me later and then zap me there. And like I need to get to a place to where then I can pick the next place. I need like a 2-hop or more hop thing where I can get me and Max on it to a place like, and it's a place far enough away to where they can't drive to it ahead of time, or to plan that far ahead of time. Because again, like get information. I'm trying not to be too paranoid about it, but if I'm telling the truth, which I am, and again, you should look at those Gangstalking story documents, especially the one about my doctor's office, and read that document and look how careful I am to like not make assumptions about things. And that magic ring, when Robin was like, the cop didn't have a magic ring. I was like, I know, Robin, that was my whole point in the story. Don't you remember that I stressed that in the story that like I didn't think that, and I thought at the time they want me to think that his ring is causing those shocks. I mean, he may know that they're doing that and like is playing along. I never thought that they were connected. And Robin, like, I don't know why you're telling me that in jail and you're telling me that again now. Like, I never said it, and I made an explicit effort. I made a great effort to say I do not think that was anything other than a ring, a normal ring, and that these were just normal cuffs. And like, I think they wanted me to think that it was, so that I would sound even crazier. And so I make it very careful to like I don't know. Technically speaking, this person may not have been aware of what was going on, but then I might say, well, their behavior in this, or like, it's important. Like he parked the car in an odd spot, maybe so that I could see, something the way that they wanted me to see it. Like I don't know why I didn't park close to the building. It seemed kind of weird. I think the other cop car was close to the building, but I can't remember. But I mean, I know you're not going to do anything on this, or you're stubborn, and you're not going to do anything. It's like I need you to rescue me because like this is the most important thing that you're ever going to be a part of in your entire life, and it's bigger than you and me. And it's already like ruined our relationship. And even if I was that person that you think I am, which I'm not, it's like you're still not treating me appropriately. You don't treat people like that. Like If you think it's easy to find a place, fine, you find a place. I'm not telling you that now, but like when you're, Kid, you should have found a place by now. Kid, you should have found a job by now. Dad, you took longer to find a job after you were fired from Mike, and you weren't being like having a protective order broken, and these people on you, even though I didn't know it at the time. And you had mom, you had like companionship, you had mom, you had insurance, you had a severance package and unemployment. I had nothing. My insurance stopped. I had nothing. I had your help with the mortgage, and that was very appreciative. And then all of a sudden you're like, find a job, take some time, and then all of a sudden like I'm disappointed in you. It just came out of the blue. Like, Dad, like all this is happening to me. Like, yeah, I know I need to get a job, and now it's even harder to get a job. Kid, you should have found a place to live by now. Really, if it's that easy, and like I wouldn't expect you to find a place, but like prove it to me. Like you find a place, and then you're like, I want my stuff out of storage too, even more than you do. You have no idea. I don't like. I thought it was gonna work out. We'll stick with the one place, but he thinks he's gonna lose his house or whatever. And like if you get our other friend Ray and his boyfriend move back in and me, then you got like 3 people paying, and then we got your mortgage paid, and you have a barn basically, and I can get everything out of storage and get it in there. And that would be perfect. But it just didn't work out that way. But like I don't know what else to do. Oh, I wanted to show you that blister, and I did. Like they can make those blisters like aggravated like a motherfucker. I don't know if they can start one, but maybe they can, because I was like, I don't remember having a blister there. And now I haven't worked for a couple of days, and now my blisters are like growing. I don't even know if they were there to begin with. Like, and they don't even touch where the flip flop would touch. Maybe like the bottom would hit it, maybe, but like because they grow like a motherfucker. But I'm hobbling around, and they're also zapping my like it's not nerve damage. I don't spontaneously get hemorrhoids by lying in bed. I don't spontaneously get my knee to pop out like that just typing on the laptop. That's not a new thing. It's like nothing like that ever happens to me, and that's not because I'm getting older or because of anything, except for them. And like I don't happen to have the power of premonition, or have sight beyond sight to like know ahead of time, ooh, this is going to happen. So my schizophrenic voices are going to tell me it's going to happen. Like that doesn't make any. That's not logical or rational, Dad. Like a nerve damage wouldn't transfer by hovering a hand over to me or to another person. And like every day you're just letting me suffer, and you think it's like you have this wall up of this is what it is, and I'm telling you it's not. I'm telling you, like, I'm 100% telling the truth. I'm 100% like not mentally ill. I 100% don't have any damage from drug use, because it wasn't a drug use to the extent that you think it was. There's so many facts wrong, and if like you're being the programmer and rational person that you are, Dead, you should like admit like to yourself, like a lot of my information is secondhand or third hand. And I understand if it's happening. Well, it's like, well, okay, but all these people are wrong and lying about you. No, Dad, partly it's them. They can do that. They get people like clashing. They get people thinking that. For you to think that it's rational at all for Alan to take a hammer to my door and to reach in, like, which one's behaving like the crazy one? Which one's behaving like that? Doesn't make any sense. I sat in a hospital for 3 days doing nothing except watch TV, and I get, well, medical needs to talk to psych. Okay, psych comes like an hour later. Well, we need to talk to medical. I'm like, can we get you guys in the same room at the same time? Because I don't know why I'm still here, because I said I'm not thinking about hurting myself or anybody else. I'm a victim here because I was asleep in my bed, I was trying to go to sleep in my bed with my dog, perfectly quiet, and my landlord takes a hammer to the door, reaches in and has my roommate take the doorknob off, and then calls the police a second time, the first time of which they left, and they ripped me out of bed. When I kept saying I'm not thinking about hurting myself or anybody else. 5 officers there, not asking me any questions, and I kept pointing to the damage that some of them saw on the way in there, and I'm like, he just did that. Like, you need to talk to him about that. That's important, and that is an act of violence, Dad. And no, he cannot do that because that's his door. And I don't. Yeah, I could go do that civil suit or whatever, but that's not the point. I don't care about that. I care that like I was put in a place that was like, and I was separated from Max, and like I'm not suicidal again. And I've always said that I'm not. I said these people try to drive people to that. Like I don't know how it would be after another year of this, but like I still probably want to kill myself because I don't want to not exist anymore. But like I can tell you that like this would drive anybody to that, even you, and maybe me even another timeline. Like I'm not like above that or anything like that. I could totally understand someone doing that, and they keep saying the most demoralizing and dehumanizing things, and going into outlandish scenarios, and that's not schizophrenia. It's not. Like, and that wasn't one instance that I did with stolen phone. He has your phone and hacked your Google account. First of all, that should be it. Period. That should be it. Period. Voices are real. But I still questioned it after that because they questioned it and, through me. But countless examples. Reading ahead in the book when the text is on the other side of the page. Reading signs and license plates when they're not even like I can't even see them. Describing things like I'm in jail. Oh, you're gonna run into my or like talking about you're running into Micah. Like I run into Micah. They move me, and then like I keep running into people that are going through the same thing, and some of them don't even know it. They're going through similar experiences that some people I met or that visited my house went through. Like I just heard the story the other day, and I'm like, and they even said this is going to be like Aaron, the guy like, and there were so many similarities. I'm like, yeah, he thought he was going to die too. He was accepting it. He thought I was going to kill him, not in a freaked out way, which is odd. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. I was like, no, why would I do that? Like, why do you think that? Why would you like hang out with me if you thought that was gonna happen? That's kind of scary. I mean, what if someone were to harm me or someone else because they said that and that person didn't react in sort of the acceptance way or like yeah, this is gonna happen, I accept it, but like like what if like I wouldn't react that way? I don't think. Like I mean that's why it's so important. That's why I sent that text to Robin about bombing downtown Central booking. I didn't finish the thought because they were attacking me intentionally, so that I wouldn't finish that thought. I explained to you on the phone, and even for still 2 years now, you're like, I still believe you intended to cause harm or wanted harm. No, I told you from the get go. Look at all my documentation. Look at that giant document. Look how careful I am to be like, this is so important because this could drive someone, understandably so, even without their additional manipulation, just with the people fucking them over. And especially when they're like, they try to even get you to like go after the henchmen and retaliate. They've tried me to go to Red River Family Practice. And it's like, I can't tell you how desperate and how much it sucks that those two ladies, again, a couple weeks after hearing medical information from visits to Dr. Brinson, primarily, I don't think they mentioned anything from Dr. Lambeth until after the visit, mentioned visits to Red River Family Practice. Oh, you must be schizophrenic. How would we know that information, kid? You must be schizophrenic. Surely, like we couldn't have gotten that. And I'm like, how did they get that information? They know, by then I was like, they already know that I know that they're real. How did they get that information? And then they're like, oh, those two ladies that event happened, and that's important. It's not primarily just about the assault, even though that's another crime itself. They could go to prison just for releasing my medical information. So I really need you to get someone on them instead of like this. No, you can hire someone. I'll give you a $5,000 budget. Well, that's not like I really want the suspect list done, and like especially those two ladies. I don't see why that's so difficult to do, especially when you're not being attacked all day, and when hopefully they're not on you. Or I mean, I would hope that they're not. I was hoping that was just like a Thanksgiving thing, and but like I could be wrong. I'm trying not to be a paranoid person. And if you look at that document, and if you look at my videos, my Gangstalking story videos, does that sound like someone who's like a paranoid schizophrenic? No. Like I've met paranoid schizophrenics, like and like most of them will tell you that they're schizophrenic, but like they're certain it's this, it's the Illuminati, it's this, and God and this and like demons and stuff, and or it's this person or it's that person, or and this and it's this and it's like, but you don't know that. Now, I don't know for a fact. Technically, it's possible that those girls just happen to choose to lie to me about taking, like, oh, I didn't get any. Well, like she got some. Oh, maybe she didn't get enough and she lost the thing. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I didn't hear it looked like she lost it. And obviously, she didn't need any more blood because, like, the woman just went threw the needle away. It was an inappropriate needle. She just, like, stabbed me that quickly. Threw it away in the dispensary immediately. At most, I needed one Band-Aid. if that. I don't even know if that needed a Band-Aid. And they wrapped both arms in excessive medical tape, and sloppily so. They're like, "Oh, junkie," like, and they'd already been trying to take me through a shaming thing where they're pretending like they were telling people, I was junkie, whatever. And I was like, but I like what? So like, when I texted Tom, could not have been interpreted as a threat against anyone. I told Tom, hey, these two girls I complimented earlier said that compliment was like I accosted her because she always gives me like a cold shoulder. Like I was like, what's wrong? You accosted me. Like Tom said, these two sketchy girls down there, like they said I accosted her, and like so my paraphrasing, and Tom can get you the exact screenshot, and that's why I was trying to add in that three-way text a couple months ago, and it could not have been interpreted that way. And then it's very important for you to know that, Dad, because he left that part out and other things out too. Like I didn't fit to his Jim Jordan, and he didn't. And like you said, kid, you're such an ass. Like nothing about that message was an ass. How was that an ass? Let's move on. Well, Tom, how would you feel if I was like had lied? Maybe if it was a mistake. I think he was drunk when he read that, and he just saw two sketchy girls or something, and maybe with their help, he somehow put it like I wasn't even threatening them. They said I accosted them. I was like, it's kind of weird, and I already thought they were kind of sketchy because of some other incident when they were like, "We're gonna drop a meth pipe in your bush." And then we're going to call the cops, and then blah, blah, blah. And I was walking Max, and right when I turned on the corner, it wasn't that girl specifically, but I think it was her or the other one, or their other friend, who I think lived with them. And that's an assumption I'm making, but I'm pretty sure there was a connection there because I connected it, and I was like, I think she's a roommate of that person. But she would always give me the cold shoulder, and I could be totally wrong with that. But it was like two girls walking, down early on at the Grove. And right when they said that, like I turned around the corner with Max, and I see them at the other end of the building next to my apartment, and the girl's like, dipping down. She didn't drop anything, but like she did that when that happened, and I was like, that's really weird. I mean, it could be totally coincidental, but right when they said we're gonna drop a meth pipe in your bush, that 2 seconds later, like right, and she's like, or I don't know, she wasn't like that. Oh, sorry, that was off camera, but she like crouched down right by my bushes. Like, I'm not schizophrenic, Dad. And there's countless examples, and they take pride in that. They take great joy in that. Like I need to be freed from this. I need to be rescued from this. Going to a doctor is not going to solve that. Like, believe me. And I know you're not going to. That's what sucks about this. And everything that I said is logical and rational. And like, if you look at my documents and look at my Gangstalking story, look how calm and collected I am. And I am working on taking all those videos and making a shorter one. I was planning on making that for the FBI guy, but a lot of edits became cumbersome. But it's still worth looking at those. They don't have to do it in one sitting. Look at the Red River one. I document it there. I have a whole separate document that links from my Gangstalking document just as a separate police report and a separate thing that just focuses on that. And it's only like a couple pages. And it explains that. Just look at that. Have a private investigator investigate that. Have him find that. Have him investigate APD officer or former officer Mark McLeod. Is that your number? Are you sure? You never had that number. So someone was impersonating you. Don't you think it's important to find out who that person is? Like you did, we should find out who that person is. Can the police help us find out who's impersonating you? Don't you want to find that out? Great. Because someone impersonated you and called Kip and identified you with his badge number after Kip called him back and asked for it. Because Kip called him back and then he was like, oh, I don't need to talk to you anymore. And I think that's important, right? And a 550 error message, because that was my mistake on him. And then like I get one from the FBI guy, even though there should have been no 550 error message. Like there's all these weird things that are happening, and like I'm trying not to look into them. I try not to think, ooh, Sometimes I think of it in a good way. I was like, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a hint that they are looking into it. And they were trying to say, oh, he's in on it with this. And I'm like, I don't think that about him. I don't want to think that about him. Technically, that is a possibility. But this is the most important thing that like anybody will ever be a part of, because it's the most important. This affects everybody in the world. And I know just by saying that, it's going to make me less believable. But it is, because it's police, or people that the police are aiding being terrorists and torturing people. every day, saying the most horrible things, and they do it to other people pretending to be God. I met one the other day. He was like, God told me to come and talk to you from over there, and they told me that they were talking that like, this guy's gonna be like Aaron, and I was like, that wasn't God. That was people pretending to be God. That's horrible. And and then another woman next door to me was like, she shared with me that she felt like her butthole was being penetrated, and that she was having a hard time like making it to the bathroom. Sometimes she was having like urgencies and like maybe near misses or maybe misses, and they've been doing that to me recently too. They haven't been doing it so much now, but they can poop your pants like that. They can pull your butthole inside out and give you hemorrhoids. And you keep ignoring this shit. You keep ignoring every single logical point I'm trying to make. I did not threaten Tom's daughters for 2 years. And if I'd done that to Tom and been like, oh yeah, I told, and then I'd be, oh yeah, I cleared it up with Betsy, yeah. And it took 2 years for me to send a text to Betsy, where I finally like, oh yeah, Tom's a great guy, and Tom's like, but there's nothing that I did that could have even been interpreted as me like saying that I've cheated on you. And when she was like, Tom, you're such an ass. No, you want the record corrected. And then what if like, and what if I was like, oh, let's just move on. He's a great guy, but let's move on. But the relationship was like forever damaged or non-existent after that. Like, don't you think Tom would be desperate to get the record corrected? Like, there's nothing that was impolite or rude in there. I'm not such an ass. I'm one of the most wonderful people in the world, Dad. And you're treating me like shit. I mean, you haven't been treating me like shit like lately, but like you go through. But like, I also haven't been pinging you and trying to get you to get your help and be like, look at this, look at this, and like, because I kind of gave up on that. And maybe I thought with my swollen knee and my blisters, I mean, the blisters don't really prove anything, but like, again, like those blisters weren't there that big or there at all. And again, that happened after I stopped working for a couple of days. And then I'm hobbling around. And now I'm hobbling around even more because my knee's fucked up. It's fucked up just from sitting down in a chair after they're telling me they're going to like start shocking, do this to my knee. That's not schizophrenic. That's not logical, Dad. That's not rational. It doesn't make sense. When it was simple and just the voices, when I first heard them, I thought, maybe I'm schizophrenic. But like, it's weird. How could that be? Like, it's really weird. I'm not even using, like, I didn't even react that way to meth or anything. It's weird. And like, why would I? It seems weird. I guess maybe I need to talk to it. Maybe I just need to get some medicine for that. And I still did. And obviously it didn't work. I wasn't expecting it to. But like countless examples, Dad. But early on, they proved to me that they were real people. Like, I don't have schizophrenia and nerve damage and suffering poltergeist where like cups are being like pushed off the dresser, full with liquid. Like, well, maybe the first one was like I'm pretty sure that was like on the dresser, but maybe I missed and like only put less than half of it on there. Like, I'm pretty sure I got it on there, but I don't know. Not that important. I'll just get another one. I mean, it could be them anyway, but whether or not they did it or not, they'll say that they did it, but then they'll say they didn't do it. And I put a second one on there, very clearly further back. Couldn't have been knocked off by any. But it was in the corner. Wasn't even fucking with the dresser. Psh. That was like that one was you guys. I know that. I don't know what the first one. Not that it matters because I know you guys are real and no one else believes me. And they're still hurting my knee. That fucking hurts. Like, it tortures me every single day, Dad. And you think I'm some like horrible person that like is being like ungrateful, and I'm like I'm on the verge of homelessness, and you're like I shouldn't have to worry about like, okay, I have cigarettes, and I have to buffer for cigarettes, even though I know I shouldn't smoke, but it's like I'm going through this shit, and then so I have like ramen and lunch meat. It's like this time I got oranges. I got little small oranges. Like, I can't get yogurt. I can't get this. And like I said that to you one time, and you were like, "Kip, just put it in." That's not the point, Dad. The point is I'm a victim here. You won't believe it, and like you keep not doing what I need you to do. And if you had done that, it would have saved me at least 2 years of suffering. And I know you're probably not going to do that either. And You keep not responding to the logical things. You didn't respond to the recent thing when I was like trying to tell you like this didn't happen, and like and this is and like this hurts me for like 2 years, and you attacked me with that too. I didn't even know that, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then I had to call Tom. Tom, why does my dad think I threatened your daughters? Oh no, we looked at it. Oh yeah, it has nothing to do with it. Can you please correct him right now? Okay, yeah, we'll clear it up. And then later, Tom, did you talk to my dad? Because like I didn't get a phone call from him telling me that you corrected the record, and like clearly, nor have you corrected the record on those other things that he kept throwing in my face when I was in jail. Like you fit in his son's gym shorts. Like you're an amazing meth head. Like you've been selling meth for 3 years. Like no, untrue. No. But then I keep saying that. No, that's not true. That's not true. Like, and then I'm the bad guy. Okay, but I'm not gonna go every single thing and argue with you. Well, like it's not an argument. It's untrue. Tom, can you please do that? Yeah, no, I did. We cleared it up. Tom, I don't think you have at all. And then finally he sent that thing that glowing review of me, but it didn't totally correct the record, and that's why it was and it couldn't have been interpreted that way. I wasn't even a threat against anyone. I wasn't even threatening those girls. I was saying they said I accosted them, and all I did was give her a compliment earlier. And I already thought she was kind of sketchy because the other thing, we're gonna drop meth pipe in your bush, and then dipping down by my bush right as I come around the corner. Why'd you do that? I don't know. I don't know. They can make it. Have to be careful because they can make people. They can drop buzzwords in people's conversations and make you think that person's in on it. I'm very careful. And I'm trying, and I look at my videos of the Gangstalking story. Look at my pain videos. I'm if I had nerve damage, it wouldn't magically transfer to my hand or someone else's hand, or my foot when I'm blocking it, or if I can dodge it. It wouldn't happen, and there wouldn't be voices corresponding to it, especially beforehand. Sometimes hours beforehand. It wouldn't happen. That's illogical to think that. I need to be rescued. I need this shit to stop. I need to get on maybe you can find a private jet service and get me max to another city, and then give some credit, add buffer, add some in there so I can pick the next one or the next one. I'm a victim here, and it's I'm now stuck, and I'm I need help the way that I always told you that I needed help that you never provided for me, and I need you to remove this stubbornness, remove disbelief, and I'm a rationally thinking person. Does this look like someone who's mentally ill? Do my videos look like someone who's mentally ill? I know I appeared that way, and sometimes when I was upset about it, and it was early on, and I was the sketchy caravan of doom. I explained the sketchy caravan of doom very clearly in my videos. If you watch the Gangstalking story, I think I explained it too in the document too. One time I did see the same people over and over again as I walked, winding around back to my old neighborhood area, and when early on, and they can throw sound so they can make it seem like there's people following you, because they can make it sound feel it sound like it's coming from that specific car. So it's just really important that my stories haven't changed though. It's very clear in there. My doctor's office is that's a whole separate document too. It's in the main document too, but it's I have a video for it too in my story. You can look at just by itself. The part that goes into the longer video that I'm trying to, or the compilation, that I don't know when it will be done. Not today or not tomorrow probably, but I probably cut that down to 10 minutes, because I do go on after that and I sort of do a lecture about basically to the people that do that. They agree to do things like that. I'm you don't realize that they try to get the victims to retaliate back against you in an extreme fashion. That would be very tragic for you and possibly the victim and others around you. And I'm so you basically put your entire clinic and the patients there, you put them all at risk. Because I was what if I was a more unhinged person? I did want to confront them because the APD didn't want to call them back. But I was I can't do that. And but I totally would understand someone doing that, because that might have ended some of my suffering. What if I had right then and there held them, that could totally end bad. They could refuse it, and then that might make me even look more crazy and less believable, right? Ooh, he held up the doctor's office. Ooh, he like confronted them and like threatened them to like get them to tell the truth, which again I would not do. But like, but I might get the truth out, you know? It's like, but still like, I can't gamble with that. But it's like, you still think about that, especially with their help. Like they didn't tell, they've been hanging on to this. It's like, well, sorry, we had a bad experience. What I said and described is absolutely true. I was totally sober. And again, maybe you're grabbing like alcohol, your events for alcohol. You know, you can have blackouts in alcohol. That doesn't happen on meth. And again, I wasn't using when I went to the doctor's office. You know, I was using like once a week, and it fluctuated. And that doesn't affect your memory anyway, unless you have like a lack of sleep, perhaps. And you get to the point where you're like, you know, that which would affect anyone on drugs or not on drugs. But I was sleeping every day and working, or sleeping and eating every day, except, you know, a few times where they kept me up, annoying the fuck out of me with their high frequency tones and vibrations and keeping me from sleeping. But like I don't remember the events wrong. 100% true. 100% true, that story. Well, and don't think of it as, well, sorry that happened to you, as an unfortunate incident. That would never happen to anyone in their entire life. And this involved at least 2 staff members. So there are 2 people that know about it. Get them apart and interviewed. And like, they would go to prison just for releasing my medical information. They will confess if there's a good investigation on them. It would probably take less than an hour of someone's time, you know. But I need people going into it believing me and knowing that we know you released this medical information, you know. And again, they may not have physically handed the information to them. They could have just put it up on their computer. All these people are like watching, like, you know, just like they are now to me. So I'm not saying that they literally printed it out and gave it to them or put it in a PDF and gave it to them. That may not have happened at all. They may have just pulled up my chart, which there should be records of that. But like, I don't know if they would provide those. They would provide those to the police, I'm sure. And I don't know if they would know how to do it. They might have to ask Greenway, which is like, ooh, Greenway. Your father's girlfriend's last name is Greenway, and they're based out of Atlanta too. I'm like, so I don't think anything of that. But like, there's no thing they try to make. They try to do things like that. And early on, sometimes you're like, oh, that's a weird coincidence. But then they make coincidence happen, like the whole Victor. That's listed in the document. Like, I don't think that was a coincidence. And then I think they went on next door and created a Jorge Longoria. Could be wrong. It could have been a Jorge Longoria that lived there. But I went over there and there wasn't one. You know, but he was you know, maybe he moved. But like, there could have been one there. But that's not something like I can investigate, or anyone could probably investigate right away. But you know, maybe ask next door. But like, it's easier just to ask these henchmen or suspects, you know, and maybe get someone out here with a drone with special equipment and see if they can find these drones or see the beams in a better way that my camera can. But like, and get me out of here. Like, it's just like. I know nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna still be suffering and struggling and trying to get my disability and whatever. So this one turned out to be an hour. But like, totally calm, collect despite what I'm going through. My feet are like a motherfucker. They're increasing now. Every time I talk about my pain and stuff, they increase it or they change it. Like, that wouldn't happen. That's not a psychosomatic response. That's not like a, well, now I'm thinking about it and then like my brain is and imagining it. No. That's not happening. I don't have the power of premonition. Just, like, stop ignoring that. Could not have predicted like where my phone was and who hacked my Google account. It is a coincidence that his friend who was harassing the neighbor, the neighbor next to me that was also happened to be at the mental health clinic, when I happened to go to the detective and then get taken there, that's not a coincidence that he was there. And a friendly guy who was very sociable, I saw him on smoke breaks out on the balcony, a couple days. And then he looked scared as a motherfucker. And I'm like, are they fucking with you too? And like, he wouldn't respond to me. And I was like, fuck this shit. And I walked out after telling the mental health guy. He's like, I'll make a note of that in the thing. I don't even know if he did. I'm like, that's important. Like, I keep, like, they pick on the mentally ill, the people using drugs, and the homeless. Like, if you ask the homeless people, have you heard of Gangstalking? Oh, yeah. And if you look at other Gangstalking videos, They think people are out. They think people are part of it, which they may be a little the henchmen. That could be true, but like most of them, they think that because the gang stalkers made them think that. If there's a gang stalking there at all, and that's what's so hard about this is they could fuck with your perceptions, and like I think my documentation and my evidence and stuff is the most that everyone has ever done in the most logical, rational way, without thinking, oh, there was a time where I was like, it's something that, excuse me, but I wasn't ever like, was always like I still think certain officers I know some officers know that they behave badly, very badly. That doesn't mean that they knew about these people or knew to the extent that they knew them, and I know that. I've always said in my documentation, the Austin Police Department and Sheriff's Department, at a minimum, aid this group. So I don't even say it is the group, although that's the simplest explanation. And it's like, don't ask me to justify why they do this. It's like an online bully or troll. It's an evil person that has these weapons. And most everything is useful for hostage and crisis scenarios and crowd and riot control. When do they get to use these things? Pretty much never. But they decided to use these things. We're going to use these things. We have these toys. We have these toys. We're going to play with our toys. There were reports on Nextdoor, people flying drones out of a van and lied and said the HOA told them to take aerial photos. The HOA got in there and said that's not true, and the guys fled. There was a report later of like drones like in the neighborhood. I saw a drone fly up to my window. I didn't really think it was this. I didn't know about this at the time. I was like, "Oh, in the year of the drone, privacy's over." Like they're getting cheaper. They're cheaper than you get a handful for cheaper than an Xbox. That's going to be a huge problem now for everyone spying through windows and shit. And I didn't think it was like this, and that's why everyone was going crazy in my house. And then I'm like, "Oh, that's why Bernie went crazy." George did hear my voice. Do you know how upset I am? I was devastated. I was like, I lost my best friend in my house and everything, and like he didn't go crazy. He wasn't schizophrenic. Oh, he's schizophrenic then, and now he's not. Why am I schizophrenic and then not? Like they stuck on me for some reason. I don't know if it became a thing. I don't know if that was a plan all along. It's like, and then Tom had some events that mirrored my events. And he went through some crazy spells. And he described some stories. I was like, I threw my phone into the traffic, and you threw your phone into the pool, and then you were lying down on benches, and I was lying down on benches, and you were going through, like, he was describing things that were like, right. I was like, the whole pattern matching, or the whole like pattern thing in my brain was going off. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't prove it, but it's like, I think he is a victim. I mean, he might not be, but I think he is. I think that's why his first marriage failed or got really so nasty afterwards. I think that's why certain things happened between him and Betsy. And I think that's why he thinks he has fibromyalgia, which he might have. But fibromyalgia would cover a lot of my symptoms. Had I not like heard voices and like also like this and being able to block them, who knows? Maybe like he could have blocked it too. But like again, if they hit you and you don't know it, they can do it in ways where you don't know it's coming from outside, as they did to me before I lost the house and shortly after I lost the house. And they would do it. They would do it like months or a couple years later. Oh, remember this feeling? Remember when this happened at the house? Remember when you're like you didn't have any energy for 2-3 weeks, and this? Remember when you thought maybe you had mites on you because like your skin felt like whatever, and you thought you saw, and like that was us. And like here's how like now you have that same feeling. You can barely get out of bed, and you're just tired like motherfucker. And you take Max out and you have a cigarette, and you come back in and just go back to bed all day long. Like that's us. Oh, and now we're gonna do it. Now that we're doing it the day labor thing, now we're gonna try to make you oversleep. Same thing. Not imagining that. Well, but I'm sure nothing's gonna change, but like we'll see.